Swamiji, unmute ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕು.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Om Traivedyam Hridyam Tripuraharamadhyam Trinayanam Jatabharodaram Kaladuragaharam Mrigadharam Mahadevam Devam Mai Sadaya Bhavam Pashupatim Chidalambam Sambam Shivamati Vidambam Hridi Bhaje. Om Namah Shivaya.
Namaste.
Through a number of illustrations, Adi Shankaracharya, the poet saint behind this Śivānandalahari, has been guiding us how we may connect with Lord Shiva in pure devotion, how our thoughts can be channeled towards Lord Mahadeva. As though some readers felt there are a lot of illustrations and these illustrations are getting a bit difficult, as though someone expressed a feeling. The next shloka, we have a case of no illustration. In fact, next two shlokas have no drishtanta. Rather, we address Lord Shiva directly as Shambhu, as Shankara, as Mahadeva. In fact, 55 and 56 both end with the expression Seyam Nati Shambhave. A beautiful expression. Seyam Nati Shambhave. Natihi means namaskar. Nam Namati becomes Namanam in neuter and Natihi in feminine. Just as Bhaj becomes Bhakti, Nam becomes Nati. What is Seyam? Sa Iyam. Here is my salutation to you, O Shambhu. Seyam Nati Shambhave. Not only these four words, Sa Iyam Natihi Shambhave, but except for the first word in the fourth line of 55 and 56, the rest of it is the same. 55 says, Samyak Tandava Sambhramaya Jatine Seyam Nati Shambhave. And 56 says, Sayam Tandava Sambhramaya Jatine Seyam Nati Shambhave. 55 has Samyak, 56 has Sayam. Thus, the fourth line acts as a punch line. Here is my bowing down before you, O Shambhu. Let's take a look at what is said in verse 55. It describes Lord Shiva directly without the use of any drishtanta. As you may remember, the very immediate previous shloka had compared Lord Shiva with a peacock. Somewhere before, Lord Shiva was compared with the Arjuna tree. Somewhere even before, he was compared with the royal swan. Somewhere else, a pakshi, a bird, and so on. But here, in this 55th as well as 56th verse, no illustrations, no metaphors, but varnana, description of his glory, his greatness is all the same given. Adhyayamita tejase shruti padaihi Vedyaya sadhyayate Vidyanandamayatmane Trijagataha Samrakshanodhyogine Dhyayayakhilayogibhi Suraganaihi Geyaya Mayavine Samyak Tandava Sambramaya Jatine Seyam Nati Shambhave Seyam Nati Shambhave. All of us know Namah Shivaya. That Panchakshara mantra is, of course, the most celebrated one. But how nice it is to say in another way, here are our salutations to you. In place of Namah Shivaya, you may say, Seyam Nati Shambhave, or just Nati Shambhave. Nati is Namaskara. Rest of the shloka is further description of who this Shambhu is. Adhyaya, he is the foremost of all entities, of all that is in this universe. What comes first? The one who comes first on top of the list and the foremost in terms of countless divine qualities is Lord Shiva, Adya. No wonder Sant Dhaneshwar begins his immortal work, Dhaneshwari, with the word Adya, Namoji Adya, and the first Ovi, they call it Ovi meter. And then he goes on. As you know, Dhaneshwari is Sant Dhaneshwar's wonderful commentary on Bhagavad Gita. It begins with Namoji Adya. Adya is the foremost. Amita Tejase. Shiva is of Tejas, effulgence, luster, light, which is unbounded, unlimited. Mita means limited. Mita means measured. You say it is this much. That's about it. Amita means immeasurable. Shruti Vedyaya. Adhyaya and Vedyaya. He is to be known through the words of Vedas, especially the Upanishads. Shruti is the Vedas. Sadhyaya, literally Sadhya means attainable, achievable, and by context it means someone attainable through pure devotion. Bhaktya tu ananyaya labhyaha ahamevam vidhorjuna natum drashtum cha praveshtum cha parantapa, says Sri Krishna in the Gita. He is to be known, Paramatma is to be known by our seeking him with all love. Sadhyaya, therefore, by implication means Bhaktya Sadhyaya. Te, to you, Shambhu, Seyam Natihi Shambhave. Vidyananda Mayatmane, one whose Atma, whose nature, whose Swarupa is Vidya and Ananda. Vidya here is the highest wisdom, highest principle of knowledge, which is Chit. Therefore, of Sat, Chit and Ananda, the latter two are taken. Chit and Ananda. Vidya and Ananda. Vidya Anandamaya Atmane, and moreover, you are not up there shining in all effulgence and not doing anything for the universe. It's not like that. Trijagataha Samrakshana Udyogine. You have been ceaselessly, tirelessly engaged in protecting the three worlds. No matter how many mistakes we have done, no matter how many times we fell, slipped, and went away to adharma, we are protected. We are brought back. We are again given another chance. That itself is samrakshana. And there are many dimensions of how God is protecting us. We eat food and forget about it. The food is digested by the laws that the Lord has set in motion. It's by Him we breathe. It's by Him that blood flows. It's by Him that every moment all the cells in our body are functioning the way they should. All this is samrakshana. Trijagataha samrakshana udyogine. At times our faith falters. Our faith shakes, thinking, oh, where is God? And so on. In our narrow mindedness, we jump to the conclusion that God seems to have gone on leave. No way. Vijagataha samrakshana udyogine. Those hard moments, those times of adversity have some lesson, some teaching for us. It is a passing phase. At that time also, God is protecting us. Dhyayaya. Dhyaya means dhyanagamya. Dhyaya is one to be meditated upon by everyone really, but especially he is meditated upon by Akhila Yogi Bihi. Yogis around the world meditate on Shiva. As Bhartrahari puts it in his Vairagya Shatakam, a Muni is sitting under a tree meditating upon the inner light, that is Lord Shiva, and out of his bliss, tears of joy flow down from his cheeks or over his cheeks. And as those tears are falling down, some birds in the forest come and sit upon his lap, wanting to drink those Ananda Bashpa. That kind of metaphor, or that kind of, I should say, poetic description is given by Bhartrahari in Vairagya Shatakam. Yogis meditate upon Lord Shiva. Dhanyanam girikandhareshu vasatam jyotik param dhyayatam anandashru kanam pibanti shakunah nishankamankeshayah is the glorious description. Shakunah, birds sitting on the lap of the yogis, drink the tears of joy falling down from the eyes over the cheeks of yogis. Yogi bihi geyaya, suraganaihi geyaya. Geya means to be sung. Geya was to be meditated upon. Geya, gai gayati. Geya means to be sung. Suraganaihi geyaya. Hordes of devatas sing the praise of Lord Shiva. Thus, Geya, Geya, Sadhya are all similar words. I'm sure some of you instantly remember the shloka in Bhaja Govindam, where four such words are put together in a single shloka. Geyam Gita Nama Sahasram Dhyeyam Shripati Rupamajasram Neyam Sajjana Sange Chittam Deyam Dina Janaya Cha Vittam is a shloka where Geya, Dheya, Neya and Deya. To poor people, the last line goes over there. We must give charity to poor people. Deyam Dina Janaya Cha Vittam. Here, Dheyaya Yogibihi Suraganaihi Geyaya Mayavine. Maya, which is a mighty challenge for you and me, is completely under his control when it is the case of Lord Shiva. He is Mayapati. We are Maya Dasas. That is the difference. He masters over Maya. He is called Mayavi. In this way, Lord Shiva, Samyak Tandava Sambramaya Jatine. Jati means one who has jata, matted locks. His hair is in the form of matted locks. He is jati, jata asya asti, iti jati. Tasmai Shambhave Shivaya Jatine. And there again, Tandava Sambramaya. In an excited mood, think of Lord Shiva as performing the Tandava dance. For such or to such Shiva, Natihi iyam, sa iyam natihi shambhave. Likewise, one more shloka also describes Lord Shiva through several pointers. Nityaya Trigunatmane Purajite Katyayani Shreyase Satyayadi Kutumbine Munimanaha Pratyaksha-chinmurtaye Maya Srishta Jagat-trayaya Sakala Amnayanta Sancharine Sayam Tandava Sambramaya Jatine Seyam Nati Shambhave. A pair of verses ending in pretty much the same manner. Tandava Sambramaya Jatine Seyam Nati Shambhave are indeed so beautiful. Sometimes a single shloka, sometimes two of them, sometimes 3, 4, 5, 10 of them. The last line repeating, last line being similar, adds to the charm of the whole composition. Like in the stutis also, Tat Pranamami Sada Shivalingam, appearing at the end of 8 shlokas, whether it's the first shloka, Brahma Murari Surarchita Lingam, or the last shloka, Sura Guru Suravara Pujita Lingam, Suravana Pushpa Sadarchita Lingam, Parat Param Paramatmaka Lingam, Tat Pranamami Sada Shivalingam. Don't think that the poets have run short of words. Therefore, they are using the same words as the 4th line. The truth is far from that. The great composers of these hymns have no dearth of words, but deliberately, the 4th line is the same. Tat pranamami sada shivalingam. Over here too, whether it is samyak or sayam, rest of it in the 4th line is Tandava Sambramaya Jatine Seyam Natihi Shambhave. Seyam Natihi Shambhave. Sa Iyam Natihi Shambhave. What ideas does this shloka add? Nityaya is ever present. He is the only Nitya Vastu. Rest of it all is a passing show. Rest of it all does not stay tomorrow. Urdhvamula madashakam ashwatham prahuravyayam. Shvaha means tomorrow. Shvaha tishtati or stasyati is shvatha. Shvaha na stasyati. Something that doesn't remain with us tomorrow is ashvatha. Sri Krishna, drawing from Kathopanishad, says in the 15th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, think of the samsara as a tree that is upside down and it is marked by ephemeralness. It constantly changes, dies, perishes. Don't chase the samsara, rather hold on to the Purusha. Tameva chadyam Purusham prapadya. One must surrender to the Purusha, who is the truth behind this samsara. In this sloka, Lord Shiva is that Nitya. Trigunatmane, he expresses as this universe. In the Advaita Vedanta, God himself is this universe. God is not just the nimitta karana, efficient cause, but also the upadana karana, material cause. From himself, of himself, God creates this universe. Therefore, in one sense, we do say God is beyond the three gunas. But do you think the three gunas can ever stay independently of God? No way. God himself is the three gunas. Trigunatmane, Purajite. It's a Puranic story where three demons would be on three cities, and only when those three cities are perfectly in one straight line, then in such and such way, certain specific ways, someone has to shoot and with a single arrow destroy those three cities, thereby destroying those demons who are causing unthinkable menace to the world, to the universe, really. And that is when Lord Shiva comes out with one of his most wonderful sports, Leela, and he does Tripura Samhar. He destroys the three cities. He destroys those three demons. Now, on the other side, on the symbolic side, Pura is Tripura. The three cities represent, now some say waking dream and deep sleep, or Swami Tapasyananji gives to us the translation, where the three cities are the three bodies, gross, subtle, and causal bodies. These three, Sthula, Sukshma, and Karana Shariras, create the illusion that we are limited. We have to destroy this illusion. I am not the gross body. I am not the subtle body, nor am I the causal body. This understanding sets us free, and this understanding is Shiva. Shiva is that wisdom. Shiva is that jnana. He becomes the conqueror, Purajit. Purajit. To him, Purajite, we salute. Seyam Natihi. Shambhave, Purajite. Katyayani Shreyase. As we know, Katyayani is one of the celebrated names of Mother Parvati. And Mother Parvati is delighted. She feels so good being with the Lord Shiva. Therefore, Lord Shiva is the Shreyas, is the one who brings to her happiness, brings to her the sense of complete well-being. Therefore, he is Katyayani Shreya, Tasmai Katyayani Shreyase. Satyaya. Earlier, Chit and Ananda were conveyed by saying Vidyam Ananda Mayatmane. Sat was left out. That is covered here. Satyaya. Satyam Dhanam Anantam Brahma, says Taittiriya Upanishad. Shiva is Satya, Shiva is Dana, Shiva is Ananta as well as Ananda. Satyaya Natihi Adi Kutumbine. In his glorious manifestation, he was indeed the foremost family person, foremost Grihastha, Parvati, Ganesha, Shanmukha, and the extended family of Nandi, Bringi, and all the Bhuta Ganas. He is the Kutumbi. Shiva is the Adi Kutumbi. So when you and I get a bit tired of our Kutumba, Grahastha, Jivana, there is no end to all this. It's good for us to remember Lord Shiva himself was Kutumbi. You and I also can be, amidst all our relationships and attachments, take a break and connect with God. Be in the world, but do not be of the world, as the saying goes. As Gita says, be like the lotus leaf that does not get wet, even though it is right in the midst of water. Padma Patram iva ambasa. So Shiva sets an example of being a Kutumbi. He is called Adi Kutumbi. Munimana Pratyaksha Chinmurtaye. This is a single compound. Munimanaha. So we must put a hyphen. Pratyaksha hyphen Chinmurtaye. He is Chinmurti, pure consciousness. Chit means consciousness. And that truth becomes visible, directly visible, pratyaksha. To whom? To the minds of Manana Shilas. If you and I become more and more contemplative, don't say we have no time. You have to make time for things. Every day, everyone gets 24 hours only. President Biden, Prime Minister Modi, and so on and so forth also get 24 hours a day. You and I also get 24 hours a day. And it is up to us to make time for sadhana. We can become muni by becoming more and more contemplative. Nowadays, we go on checking WhatsApp messages. Has somebody written to me something? Something, $1 million worth message has come my way. Kutuhala, so much curiosity. Well, it is good to check once in a while, but of the 10 times you check WhatsApp message or SMS text message, make it 5 times for messages, other 5 times. Move it, shift it, reinvest it in making a quiet or a short meditation. Om Namah Shivaya. Seyam Nati Shambhave. Seyam Nati Shambhave. In this way, when we do, we become contemplative. A muni is sitting inside us. A muni is not to be imagined as being on the Himalayan slopes or somewhere in some jungle. There is a muni right in us. Let us awaken that muni. Then to the mind of that muni, the Shiva who is Chinmurti becomes Pratyaksha. Maya Srishta Jagat Trayaya. It is he who created the 3 worlds, heavens, the earth, and the hell. By saying these 3, all other lokas are also meant. He created them using Maya, using his magical power called Maya. Sakala Amnaya Antas Sancharine. Lord Shiva moves about. He does sanchara in all the Vedas, especially in the Upanishads. He is Vedagamya. He is Vedanta Gamya. To such Shiva, to such Shambhu, Seyam Nati Shambhave, Sayam Tandava Sambramaya. He dances the Tandava. Swami Tapasyanji translates, who whirls around in the performance of the Tandava dance at the time of dusk. That is the chosen, preferred time. So two verses ending with Seyam Natihi Shamave were in the form of offering salutations to Lord Shiva. Now we have two verses which are supplication, which are humble submission, which are almost confession of a sincere sadhaka. Sadhaka or sadhika bows down before Shiva and begs of him to help him or help her in one's sadhana. Let us say the 57th verse now. We'll see the end of the shloka. It says, Rakshaniyaha aham. I have to be protected by you, which means kindly protect me. Why? What is wrong? What's the trouble with you? Why do you ask for protection? The devotee says, my case is a gone case. You must come and uplift me. Sri Shankaracharya puts the words for our benefit, standing in our shoes. Bhagavan Shankaracharya says, Nityam Swadara Poshanaya Sakalan Uddishya Vittashaya Vyartham Paryatanam Karomi Bhavatah Sevam Na Jane Vibho Majjanmantara Punya Paka Balatah Tvam Sharva Sarvantaraha Ishtasya Hitena Va Pashupate Te Rakshaniyosmyaham. You want to know my problem? Even though in my heart of hearts I know you are with me, you live in my own heart. I, out of endless foolishness, Nityam, all the time, I roam about. For what? Swa Udara Poshanaya, wanting to fill my stomach, unnecessarily insecure, without realizing that God will take care of me. I assume a sense of, oh, I must do something now. Oh, there goes a rich man. Let me follow him. I may get something. Here is an institution. I'll get a better job here. There is an opportunity. I can then better take care of my family and myself. Endlessly, we are looking for material gratification. Swa Udara Poshanaya. I can never forget how once I was sitting in a satsang when I myself was an utter beginner on the spiritual path. This was in New Delhi, year 1983. I was listening to some discourse and I had gone all the way from the south. There was an elderly person who made friends with me that evening only. He also spoke my mother tongue, so he sat next to me. And I thought he must be a great satsangi. He was many years older to me. As both of us were listening, suddenly this elderly man nudged me. He just pushed me. I said, what? He said, you have been living in this part of Delhi with a job in a company. You are living in this Mayur Vihar, right? I said, yes, I am in Mayur Vihar almost for a year now. So I have rented a little place and have work in such and such company. He said, rather than listening to the satsanga, the speaker was speaking very well actually, but this man once more pushed me a little and said, Tell me, what is the land price in Mayur Vihar these days? Shiva Shiva. The speaker did not talk about the latest market value of a square foot or square meter in Mayur Vihar or Patpatganj in any other part of Delhi. But this man from Karnataka, as I also was dreaming. This is called Swa Udara Poshanaya. Maybe he already owns a house. He was already in Delhi for many years. I was very new, 1.5 years or so, which I left and joined the Brahmachari course after another 6 months. That was just before I had joined an ashram. So look at this man. That's what life makes all of us. Why blame him? That day it was his, you know, lapse. Some other day, you and I also. When everything is so wonderful, our mind goes to acquiring land and property and some enjoyment and some position, some praise, some recognition, becoming somebody, or grieving over the imagination that we did not become somebody. According to J. Krishnamurti, in one of his very incisive statements, man's sorrow is in wanting to become. Period. He doesn't say become what. You want to become, you had it. You are in sorrow. If you learn the way to be. In fact, you and I have become many things in life. A lot of people envy us. They are jealous of us. But our mind desires. A professor in an Indian university may want to become a professor in Oxford, Cambridge, Harvard, or Stanford. And a professor in Harvard or Stanford, Cambridge, or Oxford wants to become the dean somewhere else. Or though so many people envy her for her position in an esteemed university, she is eyeing some trophy, some award. Unless I get that award, Man Booker's Prize for the next book I am writing. So one wants to become winner of this trophy or professor or CEO of such and such company. Grass is greener on the other side. And man goes on suffering from wanting to become. So, Swa Udara Poshanaya may please be taken in a larger sense, not just food into the belly, but we psychologically have the desire to put on a new image. We have presently an image of who we are with which we are unhappy, and we think, we imagine that if I am like that person, so we have an image of what we want to be, what we should have been. In that pursuit, we suffer. Swa Udara Poshanaya. Sakalan Uddishya. I go from pillar to post. Sakalan means everybody, everyone. I go here, I go there. Uddishya. Vitta Ashaya. Vitta is wealth, Asha is desire. Out of desire for wealth and other forms of gratification, Vyartham Paryatanam Karomi. The devotee confesses before Lord Shiva, I roam about Vyartham in vain. It's easier to say this, but Maya being what it is, you and I know it is so difficult for us to avoid this Paryatana. Something or the other attracts us. Don't blame Sita for desiring that gold deer, though there is no possibility actually of a gold or golden deer. It's a Maya Mriga, but she just does not budge. insists that she has to get that Maya Mriga, that golden deer. Likewise, you and I are always dreaming, always seeking something, though in our heart of hearts we know, even if I get that, I land there, in a short while, my story is, or story will be, exactly as it was before. No change. Go anywhere. Live in the biggest house. Wear the finest clothes. Roam about in the most expensive and excellent car. Tesla, latest model. You don't even have to drive, just sit. Auto driven, driverless car. There was a joke yesterday in a WhatsApp message that the latest or the upcoming model of Tesla would be such. It does a lot of things automatically. Among them, I believe, suppose you have not paid EMI, so you bought it on easy monthly installment, let us say. Suppose you did not do a down payment, or you are supposed to pay every month certain amount that under that scheme. And the joke says the Tesla, if you don't pay EMI on one of the months, will straight drive back to the store from where you had bought. It just goes back. You lost your car. I'm going back to my supplier. Maybe it's not a joke. Maybe seriously also it would do that. Whatever. So I go in the most sophisticated car, but our psychological life will not change. Therefore, Vittashaya Vyartham Paryatanam Karomi. From a distance, everything looks so good. I met a Sanskrit professor who gave a wonderful lecture on Vairagya Shatak in Chennai. And later on, over a cup of tea, we were discussing, and confidentially he said to me, when others were away, that he is very unhappy in Chennai. Though he is so highly respected, all of us enjoyed his lecture on Vairagya Satakam. Wow, what a fluency, what knowledge, and what smile upon his face also when he was lecturing. But down the platform, over a cup of tea, in privacy, he said, one of his colleagues had got a chance to serve in Germany in some Indological institute. And ever since his colleague went to Germany, he is feeling a bit of a failure in life. Of what use is all my knowledge of Shastras when I am stuck here in Chennai? Shiva, what is wrong with Chennai? What is wrong with India? What is wrong with all that you are getting here? You have such wonderful reception. People are accepting you. So many are coming to you to learn Shastras, Sanskrit, grammar, etc. And you are so loved, admired by people. But this bug has got into him that my colleague is in Munich and I am stuck. Who is putting that word stuck? Your mind is putting that word. You are not stuck. In Chennai, you are actually doing Vihar, Samskrita Vihar, Shastra Vihar. You are enjoying life and making so many people also happy. Therefore, why don't you drop this idea? Take that germ out of Germany. Take it out. If God wants, if Shiva wants, he will send you to Germany, which makes no difference really to your psychological life. But if Shiva wants, in Chennai you have Kapalishwara in Mailapur. If Kapalishwara desires that you be near Mailapur and sing the glory of him, so be it. You enjoy it. There is nothing special in Germany which is not in Chennai. So all this is easy to say, but that professor was really very, very sad deep inside. I must go to Germany. My relatives should talk about me. Oh, our uncle is now in Germany teaching, you know, Germans, Sanskrit and Shastras and so on. Some fancy, some moha, but who under the sun does not have this moha? This moha is so all pervasive. All that is implied by saying, Vyartham paryatanam karomi bhavatah sevam na jane vibho. I am totally ignorant now of how I may serve you. The idea of serving you, O Shiva, does not come to my mind. I only think of this pleasure and that position, this new image which I want to have of myself. Sevam na jane vibho, all pervasive one. But the second part has a ray of hope. In lives and lives before the present one, mad janmantara, punya paka, I have done some punya, earned some punya, some good work. Malataha, out of the strength, out of the force of that purva punya, I do have an inkling, I do have a vague understanding that Lord, you are in everyone. Sharva is an address, Sambodhana. Oh Sharva. Sharva is Lord Shiva's name. Shivaya Namaha, Bhavaya Namaha, Sharvaya Namaha. Sarva also is right. He is all, and Sharva is also Shiva's name. O Shiva, Sarvantaraha Tvam Asi Iti Aham Janami. I know, thanks to the punya of my previous lives. Sarvantaraha Tishtasi Eva. You are in all. You are in my heart too. Tenava. With that understanding, Pashupate, O Lord of all living beings, Te Rakshaniya. In your books, I should be specially marked as the one to be protected, one to be saved. Rakshaniya aham asmi, asmi aham, rakshaniyosmi aham. So it's a nice contrast. The first half of the shloka describes the devotee as a pitiable, miserable, deplorable person whose mind is always in wanting to become and losing the happiness of the present. As the expression goes, we live such a stressed life that we have, the expression comes here, no time to smell the rose. A big, beautiful rose with wonderful fragrance has blossomed right in our backyard. We rarely take a look at it. Sometimes we glance at it, but we are on the go, on the rush, in rush. Thus, what have we made of our life? Why don't we enjoy so much good that is in us? Many of us certainly have something more than half-filled glass. There is the famous example. A glass filled halfway with, let's say, delicious badam milk, and one sees the upper half which is empty and cries. Another person sees the lower half and smiles. The example, the popular illustration talks about half-filled glass. Many of us are so fortunate, so blessed. We have been lucky. Looking around, we see the kind of problems people have, and we don't have those problems. We do have a few problems, no doubt. But on the whole, I'm trying to say Our glass is filled more than half, maybe not 100%, 70% filled. And yet, because of our erroneous psychology, because of wrong mental habits, which then get translated to wrong physical habits, wrong conversational habits, wrong habits of eating, sleeping, etc. Whole thing is in the mind. If our mind gets straightened, we will eat properly, we will sleep properly, we will talk properly, we will invest properly, we will spend properly, and so on and so forth. 100 bad habits are all rooted in a wrong mental habit. One of the authors of a popular book these days doing good sales, Atomic Habits. The author's name is James Clear. He very nicely says that what is behind our wrong habits is a certain wrong belief about who we are. Many of us believe, because of some influences, that we are no good, or we are weak, or we have to bend before A or B, X or Y. We are not as capable as A or B. So various beliefs, in spite of having certain talents, having certain skills, having certain abilities, we somehow believe we are not up to the mark. And that has serious consequences. So James Clear, the author of Atomic Habits, on one hand asks us to change our habits in doing things, but in certain pages he admits that true change, effective change, is not so much in terms of changing what we do, but it is in terms of changing how we think about ourselves. That's a spiritual message, really. Like Ramana said, find out who you are. That's, of course, on a very great height. But on this level, too, if you and I re examine, do I have some unnecessary insecurity? Do I have some unnecessary inferiority complex? Do I have an unnecessarily a sense of I'm higher than everybody? These all could be wrong beliefs. If we eliminate wrong beliefs, especially about who we are, and arrive at an objective, reasonable, rational, very, very acceptable understanding of who we are, a number of bad habits will fall off, will just fall by the side. Thus, Śivānandalahari shows the way. If we could sit for a couple of minutes here and there, lovingly contemplating upon Shiva, then a certain insight dawns on us. Call it Shiva's grace. It is, of course. Say Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya. Suddenly, an insight will arise with so much force. That insight will say to us, you don't have to think low about yourself. Everybody has shortcomings. You also may have one or two. But don't think of yourself as low. Assert the good in you. Be aware of the shortcomings. March ahead. Correct yourself. These insights, which may not be directly linked to Om Namah Shivaya, I am saying, will arise when your mind becomes quiet. The mind has greater suppleness, greater flexibility, thanks to the repetition of Om Namah Shivaya lovingly. Therefore, it is that bhakti and jnana go hand in hand. In bhakti, the mind becomes receptive to astounding, astonishing jnana. Be sure of it. May we pray Lord Shiva to bless us with greater self-understanding. Om Namah Shivāya. Om Namah Shivāya.
Thank you, Swamiji.
Thank you.
Swamiji.
Namaste.
See you in the next class.
Thank
See
you.
in the next class. Namaste.
Thank you,
Very good.
Swami.
We'll continue.